Now I want to show you how to formulate a basic scrub. This basic scrub is 226 grams or 8 ounces. When you first start formulating, if you are in the United States that doesn't use the metric system, you're going to find a lot of recipes in grams, but you're going to buy in ounces and you're going to sell in ounces. So try to use a amount that's even so that you can understand. Now the 8 ounces is not the exfoliant, it's not the jars, it's just everything that goes into the scrub before the exfoliants. This is going to be a pink Himalayan sea salt. Now what I usually do is I have in almost all of my scrubs 50% are oils. So half of 226 is 113. Usually half of my oils is coconut oil. The other is usually my infused oils, and I'll show you that in a minute. So here I want 56.50 grams of sweet almond oil and 56.50 grams of coconut oil. Now if your scale doesn't do 0.50, you're going to lose a gram if you don't put one of these at 57. So I usually do the coconut oil at 57. So over here I put my price, which is raw material plus freight in. So for this particular one, I looked it up in my price book, I looked it up in the product code, and this 56 ounces of sweet almond oil and 57 ounces of coconut oil cost me 75 cents. Okay, then 25% butters. I usually use 3 to 4 butters, but for this one I'm using shea butter 28.25 and cocoa butter 28.25. Again, you're going to lose product if you don't account for that half a gram. So you can either make one full up or full down. And at this stage, it doesn't really matter. You just want to try to even out some of these numbers. And that will cost me $4 for the shea butter and $5.85 for the cocoa butter. Then half of that should be your emulsifiers. I typically use 4 emulsifiers. For a basic scrub, you want to use 13% e-wax and stearic acid. So here it would be 20 grams of e-wax and 8.25 of stearic acid. And again, you got to figure out what you're going to do with that 25. You're going to make it 21 and 8, or you're going to make it 9, or you're just going to lop it off. It's not going to make a huge difference. The 0.25 is not going to make a huge difference. Now look at the price difference. $2.25 versus $1.35. So you have to make a decision, and I've made a decision which I'll explain to you when I show you how to modify this, how I use my emulsifiers. The next is 1 to 5% Optifen, which is my preservative, and fragrance. So I'm going to be using 3 grams of Optifen and 5 grams of fragrance. Now I have figured out that the Optifen is 50 cents, but the fragrance is blank because I haven't figured out which one I'm going to use yet. That you should figure out, and I usually go through a huge customizing sense, so that's one of the reasons why it's blank, and I have to remember to add it later on. Then 10% are my extras. Vitamin E is 8 grams, and jojoba oil is 15 grams. That's $1.10 and $1.90. And again, these are things that you have to figure out. Now, since this is a 226 gram scrub, everything that I just told you about equals 226 grams. My pink Himalayan sea salt can be 100 to 200% of the scrub. And depending on the condition that you are addressing with the scrub, the skin type, you will use different amounts of exfoliants. For this, I'm going to do a full 100%, so it is going to be 25 cents an ounce is what I pay for sea salt. Now, how to customize this. I'm making a pumpkin scrub. So my oils are going to be 50% my 50% oil is going to be pumpkin seed oil, infused calendula oil, which is my own infusion, and coconut oil. So over here, I'm going to have 28.35 of pumpkin seed oil, 28.35 of infused calendula oil, and 56.50. So I'm just going to add a gram to the infused calendula oil and make it 29. And over here, you can see the difference in the prices. It's 28, 40, and 28. So that's 96 cents. Now, in our basic one, we only had 75 in oil. So you see, when you customize this, it's going to be different. Then for our butters, I want 25% butters, shea butter, cocoa butter, and because this is a pumpkin scrub, I want pumpkin seed butter. So I'm going to do 28.25 of shea butter, 15% cocoa butter, and 13.25 of pumpkin seed butter. So I've got another 50, so I need to decide whether to round up or down. Then for my my emulsifiers, this is my 13% of my emulsifiers. This is the formulation I use in almost every single product. I use these four. I don't use the beeswax in some where it would be too sticky, but I'm going to use 15 grams of e-wax, 3.25 grams of stearic acid, 5 grams of cetyl alcohol, and 5 grams of beeswax. And I think that that would be a really nice emulsifiers for this. And you have to play around with your emulsifiers and come to the ones that you like. Now, for my exfoliants, remember I said that the pink sea salt was 25 cents an ounce? Well, the pumpkin flakes, which I'm putting in 2 ounces of pumpkin flakes, is $2 an ounce. So it's going to be $4, where the 6 ounces of pink Himalayan sea salt is only going to be $3. Then I put in my jojoba oil and my vitamin E. So you can see what a difference it makes in price when you do a customized scrub versus a basic scrub. But that's how you formulate it. Now, I put this in my journal, and I will go to my book, and after I have formulated the pumpkin scrub, I will fill this all in. I'll start it with the time. I'll write it on my butcher paper that I've shown you in other videos, and then I'll put my books away. So I'm going to do that now.